Welcome back. 9:42 on your Friday here on The Big Picture. I'm Colin Sheesbrand. Right now we are joined by Tom Schmid, the CEO of the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You guys have been busy.
It's been a busy few weeks, busy few years.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the aquarium is planning this, 100,000 square foot expansion.
Right.
This is exciting.
Right now. So tell us, these are some pretty big plans.
Yeah.
Where all is this going?
So this is really part of our strategy to just build out our interpretive program, really make the Columbus Zoo a year-round destination. Right now, we're largely a regional, seasonal attraction, and so coming up with wonderful programs and things for guests to do and see year-round, that's one of the key parts of our strategy. So I think the aquarium fits in well with that. Our existing aquarium is pretty dated. It's very beloved, but it's been around for over 30 years. And we know people are fascinated with marine life. And so being able to introduce an entirely new attraction to our campus, I think really complements the interpretive story. We get to interpret more of what covers 3/4 of the globe, from the Scioto River all the way to the Indo-Pacific region, but a great attraction for the middle of summer when it's hot, the middle of winter when it's cold, and every day in between.
Absolutely. What inspiration are you drawing from when it comes to designing this new aquarium? Because tickets are going to be separate, right, for the new aquarium and then the regular zoo.
Right. Yeah, so we really sort of looked at our conservation programming, and right now many of the exhibits, almost all the exhibits that we have at the zoo, tie into a field conservation program. So we really wanted to lean in on that. So we start with the Scioto River, work our way to the Pacific Northwest, and then down to the Caribbean, into the Indo-Pacific region. And these are all areas where we've begun to do more conservation work. And we're going to be able to showcase our coral program in the new aquarium, what we're doing to help save sharks globally. So lots of different ways to interpret that conservation work and really bring it to all the folks who visit.
And you mentioned coral there. We know that coral groupings, coral reefs, are currently very endangered. We see them dying out at a rapid pace across the globe. Talk to me a little about the zoo's preservation program, how you guys are working to... So we work with a lot of other aquariums, and we're really studying corals and trying to determine, are there ways to make corals more resistant to warmer ocean temperatures or more acidic ocean water quality. So this is part of a much, much larger effort to try to figure out if we can help restore global populations of coral around the world. So we're focused in particular on Caribbean species, Florida Keys, for example, but we could move into the Indo-Pacific in the future. So we've got a really great coral biologist that works for us at the zoo, Ramon. He's does a terrific job. We're happy to play a role in this.
Absolutely. I love how in Adventure Cove you walk through that sea lion area and you're covered with the glass and you feel like you're underwater.
Yeah.
When you're designing this new aquarium, will there be immersive elements like that, like in Adventure Cove? And are there any barriers right now that you think could maybe pop up between now and opening in 2029?
I don't see any barriers at this point. We're well along with the design process. We'll start construction documents this summer. We're actively fundraising. Certainly we got that transformational gift from the Wolf family to really kick this off. So we're really pleased with that trajectory. Each gallery will have a really different theme, but a very interpretive theme and a very immersive feel. I mean, you'll walk into these spaces and you'll actually feel like you're in the Indo-Pacific region, or you'll feel like you're in the Pacific Northwest. So really putting a lot of focus, not just what's inside the aquariums, but the surrounding area.
Absolutely.
And then we've also got the announcement of the hotel plans, or at least the idea of let's get a hotel on property, and that kind of fits into this. Let's make it more than a seasonal destination.
And can I add to that, Tom? I'm from Columbus. I feel like for years we've all talked about having a hotel at the zoo. Why does this now feel like the right opportunity?
So we 2 years ago we partnered with a company called Hotel Leisure Advisors, and they did a deep dive into the market. They looked at the surrounding hotel occupancy rates around the region. They looked at tourism trends. They looked at growth potential in Delaware County. They pretty much put together an enormous amount of data and really fed that into their model to determine if a hotel would be successful. And the result was that, they felt that now was the right time to build one. So that really led us to launching the RFQ process.
And where would it be? We have a kind of an image of it, but in that back parking lot area.
Yeah, more than likely, we want folks at the hotel to be able to easily access the aquarium, easily access the zoo, easily access Zoombezi Bay, and even our Centennial Plaza, where we have a lot of different attractions and rides, and the Adventure Cove region.
So right now, the zoo also has, not resigning, but people can stay at the Wilds.
Yep.
Talk to us about what that experience is like and how this hotel might be different.
Yeah, so we've actually, that's a good question. We've learned a lot about lodging from the work we do at the Wilds. There's a lot to do at the Wilds. In fact, if you want to really do everything there, you can't do it in one day, and that's why I think the lodging has been popular. We've seen a lot of great interest in the yurts and the cabins we have out there, and we even expanded that last year to add an RV park, because we know a lot of folks have RVs and they want to be able to utilize that to spend more time and travel. So the one of the unique things about the Columbus Zoo is our size. We're one of the largest zoos in the country. It takes about 5 hours, and on average, people spend about 5 hours at the Columbus Zoo. Members might not spend quite as long because they come more often, but general admission visitors typically spend 5 hours. So you combine that with spending potentially all day at the water park. Maybe someone in the family wants to play golf, and then a new aquarium attraction. Now you've got a multi-day destination. So if we've got families coming in from Chicago or Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, and they want to spend the weekend at Columbus, that's our goal, is to create a destination on our campus for a multi-day visit.
And let's talk about ticket prices, because you're obviously adding a lot of new attractions. Do you anticipate ticket prices to raise? And are you guys working to kind of figure out a sweet spot between single day passes and then season holders? Because sometimes, I mean, I live in Franklin County, so I get the Franklin County discount, which is wonderful. But do you hope to lower those prices at all, or will they go up with all these new developments?
The prices almost certainly won't go down. I mean, we're seeing cost increases in food and fuel, and we give our team members raises each year. We want to make sure we're a great workplace. So, but trying to manage those the best we can in order to support our mission work. We're also scaling our conservation work, so we want to generate more funding to support that. The aquarium will cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 million a year to operate. So we've got to figure out a way how to pay for that. And the simplest way is to charge admission for the aquarium. We thought about just combining that with the zoo ticket. And that's something that we could still look at and just raise the zoo ticket. But again, what I mentioned, with a 5-hour typical length of stay at the zoo, trying to think how many families are going to want to spend 5 hours at the zoo and then turn around and spend another 2 hours at the aquarium. That gets to be a pretty long day, particularly if you have younger kids. So we thought, well, is it better to give folks flexibility? Maybe they come to the zoo one day, they come to the aquarium another day. And so that really drove kind of the decision to have really separate ticketing for that.
Absolutely.
And as we talk about the growth of the zoo complex and everything that surrounds it, obviously the zoo in Liberty Township just reached that agreement with the help of the governor, and kind of coming to that of what, $2,700 an ambulance run. What do you tell the patrons when it comes to the safety of their visit?
Yeah. Well, we've always prioritized safety and risk management. We have a really robust EMS team that is employed by the zoo on site. What we didn't have before is transport. So we relied on Liberty Township to do that for us, and we've relied on them to help us for the last several decades. What we've done now is we have a private EMS service to augment our on-site team, and with an ambulance. So now we have an ambulance on site at the zoo, which allows us to respond even quicker. So that's really going to help relieve some of the burden for Liberty Township. All along, that's what they've shared, that we're a burden on them. So we want to take that burden off. So we've got transport now. We can transport. If a staff member gets injured or a guest gets injured, we've got the ambulance on site. We can immediately transport them to the hospital. Now, there may be times when we have more than one incident, or there may be a time during the year during slower attendance when we don't have on-site, and we'll continue to rely on Liberty Township then. But this is really about how do we come up with the best security and safety system for our guests and our employees.
Right.
Because you are kind of operating like your own little city, especially now with this new hotel that's going to be built. Well, Tom, thank you so much for coming in today. And I would like to offer up my services. I'm a certified scuba diver, so I can come and clean that new aquarium, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
we'll
sign
take
me up.
advantage of that.
All right.
Awesome.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Of course.